Hello, everybody, and welcome to the debut, the premiere, the pilot, the inaugural, the whatever you want to call it episode of the brand new Capital City Sports exclusive show, The Locker Room. The Locker Room is a show dedicated to the world of all professional sports, where I, your host, Justin Lindler, am joined alongside two co-hosts each week, and we discuss all the latest news in professional sports, give you our outputs, and our predictions all within about 10 minutes. Let's get started. Before we begin, please welcome my two co-hosts for today.
I'm Thomas Gore. I'm a broadcast journalism major here at USC.
I'm Nathan Ostrowski, a junior advertising major here at University of South Carolina.
Thank you guys for joining me today. So let's get things started. The NBA season is coming to an end, and the playoffs still seem a little unclear, especially in the Western Conference. Houston and Golden State are the only two teams with a guaranteed spot right now, with Houston claiming the number one seed overall last night. So for the remaining 6 spots left, who's in and who's out?
Well, the Western Conference is always competitive every year. It's one of the most competitive conferences in all of professional sports. But personally for me, I think a team that's riding a high right now and that can actually be competitive in the playoffs, that's a dark horse, is the Utah Jazz. They've had an amazing coaching staff. Guys like Donovan Mitchell are really going to help them build over the next few years. They're starting to build something special in Utah, and I think it's going to start this year. I don't think anybody's going to want to face them in the playoffs, no matter if they have home field or what.
Right, yeah, I like that analysis. The Western Conference, you never really know. I love Coach Greg Popovich. I think he's going to lead his team. So for me, it's the Spurs, but you never know.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. San Antonio, you can never count them out. Greg Popovich will probably go down as the greatest coach of all time. They haven't missed a playoff since 1997, which is remarkable. LaMarcus Aldridge is playing out of his mind right now, and I think it's just hard to stop him in the momentum. Plus, they have a huge win over the Oklahoma City Thunder last night, which will really build up the momentum going in. Now, I think the Utah Jazz are the first team out. I think that there's just not enough star power there with Ricky Rubio and Derek Favors. I mean, you have a few guys that are capable of playing there, but I really don't think that with the remaining schedule they have, including the Warriors coming there and traveling to Portland, I just don't think that they're going to be able to pull it out.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a tough question. I mean, they're sitting right there at 8th place as of this recording, obviously.
Right.
But a team that I think is out personally is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers. And it stinks because I love Lob City. Unfortunately, with the absence of Chris Paul and now Blake Griffin, he went to the Pistons. It's going to be hard to make up that ground, even with guys like DeAndre Jordan still there, as well as Lou Williams, who's been playing at an all-star level this year. He was really snubbed as an all-star, but he's been playing lights out. Unfortunately, I just think the Jazz are that much talented in terms of their coaching.
Now, let's talk about the finals. Way too early predictions. I mean, it's only March. They don't start until about mid-April. For me, the two teams I think that are going to win out in the East and the West will be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Houston Rockets. LeBron James is a different animal in the playoffs. He's gotten there the last 8 years. There are teams in the East like the Celtics that could potentially knock them out, but with recent injuries to Kyrie Irving, I don't think that the Celtics will stand a chance against LeBron. On the West side of things, the Houston Rockets, I mean, James Harden, you might as well give him the MVP trophy already. He's lights out this year. They've got the number one seed. They'll have home court advantage throughout the entire postseason. I think they're going to be hard to stop. With the Warriors, the defending champions, there's injuries going on over there. Curry's been beat up. Klay Thompson's hurt. Kevin Durant just recently came back with a rib injury. They're going to be weak, and the duo of James Harden and Chris Paul will just be too hard to stop.
Yeah, I think that's a really good prediction. But one thing I have to ask is, why isn't anybody talking about the Toronto Raptors? The Toronto Raptors are about to clinch first place in the Eastern Conference. The Six is about to become the capital of basketball in the Eastern Conference. They're probably going to have home field advantage, and that is huge. They've got immense superstar power. They've got DeMar DeRozan. They've got Kyle Lowry, and Dwayne Casey is probably a candidate, at least, for head coach of the year. I think that the Raptors have the possibility. They've got to do it sometimes, and I think they could eventually, this year, they could be there at the end of May, at the beginning of June, in the NBA Finals. I think this could be their year, which would make Drake a very happy man. On the Western Conference side, I will have to agree with you, though, Justin. Houston has just been too dominant, especially when they're healthy, when they've got Chris Paul, when they've got James Harden, when they've got Clint Capella. They're just so good. They're so talented. that Mike D'Antoni style of offense where basically you just double the score so you don't have to play any defense.
Right.
It's fun basketball to watch. It's good, and they're winning. They're being effective at it. And I think, like you said, with Steph being banged up and the Warriors as a whole being banged up, I think that's going to help the Rockets easily make the finals this year.
All right, it's like you said. I mean, the Rockets are just having fun with it right now. I mean, I'm really liking their play. As you said, Mike D'Antoni is having a great offense going there. They're scoring, I believe, league-leading numbers. We're going to have to see what the effect of Steph Curry not playing in that first round is going to be. He has a minor MCL tear, but, we heard an interview from Coach Steve Kerr. Sorry, we heard an interview from Coach Steve Kerr about that he still thinks that they're an NBA Finals team even without him. So we're just gonna have to see how they do. And let's see, in the East, I'm gonna have to go with my man LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that he will not fail to bring Cleveland back to the finals. He's done so 3 years in a row, and I got to put all my money in that basket.
It's hard to bet against them.
Yeah.
Now, the NBA season isn't the only professional sports league entering the postseason, as the NHL also is approaching the end of their regular season. There is a neck-and-neck race for first place in the Atlantic Division between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins, with one more game to be played between the two. Who comes out on top?
Well, personally for me, I know this is a super competitive division, but I'm going to have to go with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think the Lightning have been building and building for years. They've got a nice young core of talent. And I know guys with the youth movement, teams with a youth movement, they're often underestimated. But we've seen teams in all professional sports that have a young core make a run in the playoffs, and I don't think it's different for teams like the Lightning. I think they could definitely make some noise.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. I'm going to go with the Boston Bruins on this one, just because they have an older team. They have more experience, guys like Brad Marchand, Nikita Kucherov, and David Backes, and Patrice Bergeron. I'm sorry, Nikita Kucherov actually plays for the Lightning, but Patrice Bergeron, they have lots of playoff experience. They've played well in the playoffs in the past, and I don't see them losing to the Lightning here. I see them winning out the division and coming in first in the Atlantic. Also, I don't see Tuukka Rask, who is one of the best goalies in the league right now, losing out to Andrei Vasilevskiy. So we're just going to see how it goes, but my money's on the Bruins.
All right. Like I asked for the NBA question, who is your favorite to win the Stanley Cup?
Well, I'm going to go with a little bit of a fun pick here. I like the Las Vegas Golden Knights, baby. I think it would be awesome, and I think it's a realistic prediction to see the Knights at the end of the playoffs there at the Stanley Cup at the end. They've performed great all season long. They've been super consistent, and I think that's going to continue into the playoffs. I don't think they're intimidated by guys that have experience or anything like that. I think they can make a run.
Yeah,
oh, baby, the Knights. That's a bold choice. I mean, they're new to the league. They are a good team, but, you can make arguments for a number of teams, including the Golden Knights, the Predators, and then the Lightning. But I'm going to go with what I consider to be the most talented team, the Washington Capitals. I mean, right now they have probably the most talented player in the NHL, Alexander Ovechkin. He leads the league in goals, and, man, he is just getting better with age. He's 32, and killing it, and the Capitals have other assets besides him, which make them kind of a dual threat. They have a good secondary line, and TJ Oshie is another just great scorer, great passer. Nicholas Backstrom, just great player. So, the Capitals are my choice for the Stanley Cup this year. We're gonna have to see how Brendan Hopley keeps playing. He's kind of been on and off this season, but let's go Capitals, baby.
As two seasons begin to wrap up, one season is just beginning as Major League Baseball has officially returned. The offseason is no more. Spring training is behind us. The season has just begun, so we're going to keep this short and sweet. What team is going to make some noise and surprise some people this year?
Well, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here and go tomahawk chop all the way. I think the Atlanta Braves are a team to watch for the same reason I talked about as the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're young, and they've got a lot of talent, especially scoring-wise. Freddie Freeman is going to be consistent all year. He's shown that his whole career, and he's going to stay being one of the best players in the conference. I think young guys like Ozzy Albies and soon Ronald Acuna, once he gets moved up in about 2 weeks, they're going to help. That's going to help their weak pitching staff because the Braves don't really have a great pitching staff right now. I think that's going to help them and take a lot less pressure off them. And I think the Braves are going to score a lot of runs, and I think it's going to be a fun season at SunTrust Park this year.
Tell me right now, do the Braves make the playoffs?
I think it's hard to say right now. I think they definitely contend, without a doubt. They're definitely going to be contending late in September.
That's interesting.
If
What
you're the
about you,
Chop,
Nathan?
well, I say if you're the Mets. I mean, last year they were plagued a little bit by their injuries. I mean, you can't fault them for that. I think they could be a surprise team just if they get back some of their star players. You see Noah Syndergaard. He's probably one of the better pitchers in the league when he's healthy, and Yoenis Cespedes, another great player who was injured last year. You can't blame the Mets. Hopefully they'll be healthy and have a great season.
For me, it's going to have to be the Cleveland Indians. I mean, they had one of the best pitching staffs in history last year with the Cy Young winner. Excuse me. Right. For me, it's going to have to be the Cleveland Indians. One of the best pitching staffs in history last year, the Cy Young Award winner, Corey Kluber. 3 relievers last year with the ERA below a 3.0. They have top 5 offense and a top 5 defense, and arguably one of the best managers in baseball today in Terry Francona. They were there 2 years ago. I think they get back to it this year and possibly bring it home.
I agree.
So it's time for the rapid fire segment.
Rapid
I will be
fire.
asking rapid fire. I will be asking Thomas and Nathan a series of 5 questions, which they will then alternate with answers. They will have 90 seconds to complete this task. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Yes, sir. Ready.
All right. Who will be answering the first question?
I volunteer as tribute.
All right. You'll answer the first one. You go second, third. You know how it goes from there.
Alrighty.
Thomas. Odell Beckham Jr. has come out and said he will not return to the Giants unless he receives a contract extension, in which the Giants replied they are willing to trade Odell Beckham Jr. for 2 first-round picks. Are the Giants handling the situation poorly, or is OBJ demanding too much?
Oh man, that's a tough question, mostly because both of these figures could have their own reality TV show. The Giants front office is run horribly. They have been recently, and we know Odell Beckham Jr. to be a little bit of a diva. Right now, they're kind of clashing heads right now, and it could get a little bit ugly. But I think in terms of who's in the wrong, I think it's the Giants. I mean, one of the NFL's greats, Jerry Rice, said yesterday, or a few days ago, that trading away Odell Beckham would be like trading this generation's Jerry Rice. So I think in terms of talent, he's pretty much the most guaranteed talent you have on that team. If you trade him away just because he wants a contract like any talented player should, he knows what he's worth, and that's smart, especially in today's industry. So I think right now the Giants need to shut up and pay.
Yeah. All right, Nathan. LeBron James said earlier this week that if he had a vote, he would vote for me in regards to the NBA MVP. Who would you vote to win the MVP?
Well, I don't think you can fault LeBron for saying that. I think he's a very good choice. We're going to have to see how he does in playoffs. I mean, there's been a lot of controversy with that team this season. I mean, they lost a lot of guys. Isaiah Thomas had to change. I mean, there's problems in their front office, on the floor. I mean, they had to change everything. So I think it's a fair thing to say that if LeBron pulls off another finals run, then no doubt, MVP. I'm sending my vote in today.
All right, Thomas. The New York Mets have assigned former Florida Gator Tim Tebow to the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, the Mets AA affiliate, to start the season. Will we see Tim Tebow in the Major League before the season is over?
Man, I love Tim Tebow. I love the story. I think everybody in the universe loves Tim Tebow. Unfortunately, I think that question is a joke. I don't think we're going to see Tim Tebow in professional baseball. Unfortunately, if we do, it would be a travesty and it would be an insult to the sport of baseball. I mean, it would be entertaining to say the least. It would be entertaining to see Tebow up there, but I don't think professionally he's going to be able to get up to that level. He's been decent at best at times in the minors, and he's really at the low levels right now. So I think it's going to be really hard for him to make that jump this quickly.
Now, the Cleveland Browns do have the #1 overall pick this year, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding who they will select. With most people expecting it will be a quarterback, and those top 2 contenders for that spot happen to be Josh Allen and Sam Darnold. Nathan, who are the Browns going to take?
I think I like Josh Allen in this situation. Sam Darnold in particular has been known kind of to fold under pressure. He isn't a great pocket passer. Josh Allen's a lot better in that position, and I think he's just more comfortable and more suited for the NFL. And right now, that's what the Browns are looking for. They've had a couple busts in the past with Johnny Manziel, of course.
I think a couple is an understatement.
A couple might be an understatement in this situation. They've had some bad luck. So right now what they're looking for is just someone who can perform, and Josh Allen's the guy.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Johnny Manziel because my final question does go to Thomas regarding Johnny Manziel.
Football.
The Forsman Heisman Trophy winner participated at Texas A&M's Pro Day this past Tuesday with hopes of an NFL return. And he came out and said he would play in the CFL if the NFL's, quote, door shut. Will Johnny Football ever play in the NFL again?
Man, I mean, never say never. Like I said, I mean, Johnny Manziel, he performs at such a high level. We've seen it before. He's just so fun to watch. No matter what you think about the guy's personality, his play style is just so fun to watch. And I think that would fit really well in Canadian football. Now, whether that would lead to an NFL career, I don't know. I don't know if he's ready for the NFL right now with where he's at and his talent level. I don't know if he's rusty or if anything's regressed with him. But I think he could definitely get a chance in Canadian football. We've seen guys like Warren Moon, guys like Doug Flutie compete in the CFL, then come back to the NFL later and have pretty good careers for decent teams. So I think that it could happen with Johnny Manziel, and I would love for it to happen. It'd be awesome to see him again.
Well, that's all we have time for today at the debut episode of The Locker Room. I've been your host, Justin Lindler, alongside
Thomas Gore
and Nathan Rushkowski.
Thank you all for joining us once again. We'll see you next week.